Good morning. My name is Gene Chan, Hearing Officer for San Francisco Public Works. Jackie Vo is the clerk for today's hearing. This hearing is being recorded via Zoom and will be available afterwards through a link on the San Francisco Public Works website at sfpublicworks.org. Because this is a virtual hearing, there is no sign-in sheet. If you would like to receive information about the results of this hearing, please send an email to the address listed on the hearing notice. This public hearing is being held to consider the following items. Order number 300113, to consider the tentative approval of a surface-mounted facility site application from PG&E at 701 Pennsylvania Avenue. Order number 300103, to consider notice of violation number 052026-055-002 related to path of travel at 39 Paramount Terrace. My role as a hearing officer is to gather the facts for each hearing item, listen to your testimony, and help our Director of Public Works make a determination. I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings and my recommendations to the Director, who will make the final determination. When the Director's determinations are made, the department will notify parties interested where contact information has been provided. The hearing will proceed as follows. I will first ask Public Works staff to present the case. There's no time limit for this presentation. Next, the property owner, appellant, or applicant may speak. Then any member of the public or any witness who wants to speak will be given an opportunity. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. The clerk will monitor the time and will indicate when 30 seconds remain. If you are a party to this proceeding, I will call on you to speak. If you intend to use visual materials, please let me know before you begin. You will then have a standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you're a member of the public or a witness, please wait until I call for public comments. To be placed in a queue during public comments, you may use Zoom's raise hand feature or dialing *9 if you're dialing in by phone. I will call on the speakers in the queue. If you're on the phone and muted, press *6 to unmute yourself. If you plan to use visual materials, please let me know before speaking. Comments and questions should not be addressed to department staff or to the applicant. If you cannot complete your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony by noon today. After all comments are completed, I will close the item. We will now begin the hearing. At this time, we will open the hearing for general public comment. Members of the public may make comments on matters within the department's jurisdiction that are not on today's agenda. Are there any public comments at this time?
Yeah, there's one. Raise the
Okay.
hand.
Joe Deuce.
Okay. Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the I'm the homeowner at 39 Paramount Terrace, so I don't know which order you plan to go in. I just wanted to identify myself and that I was on.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this is right now just general public comment for items not on today's agenda. That item for 39 Paramount is the last item on today's agenda. So I'll call that
Okay,
later on.
thanks.
Thank you. Any general public comments at this time?
Only him. Nobody
Okay.
else is raising their hands.
Okay. I will close the general public comment item and move on to today's agenda item, order number 300113. May Public Works present the case?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. I will go ahead and share screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Emily Kent. I am the Public Works representative for this hearing order number 300113 for the tentative approval of surface mounted facility 21 SMF 00047. And surface mounted facilities are utility facilities which are installed directly on the public sidewalk above the surface of a street. Public Works issues surface mounted facilities permits under Public Works Code Article 27 and Public Works Order 206293. And in this case, the proposed site for this SMF is adjacent to 701 Pennsylvania Avenue on the 22nd Street side of the street. The Public Works Permits Division has scheduled this hearing, PG&E Surface Mounted Facility application for 21 SMF 00047 at 701 Pennsylvania Avenue to determine whether Public Works should approve PG&E's waiver of the pre-application approval process and PG&E's proposed location for its surface mounted facility. As authorized under Public Works Code, Article 27, Section 2703, PG&E submitted a request to waive the Article 27 community meeting requirement by demonstrating that physical and technical constraints limit its placement of this SMF to a single location at 701 Pennsylvania Avenue. PG&E had also provided communication and a letter of approval from the adjacent property's HOA for the adjustment to the planter, making space for the proposed cabinet location. Public Works permits tentatively approved this waiver and determined that the SMF will not unreasonably affect the aesthetic character of the streetscape, adversely affect pedestrian circulation, or adversely affect a historic research based on the determination from Planning Department. Therefore, Public Works permits allowed PG&E to post and mail its notice of intent to obtain an SMF permit. This is to show the planning determination that they approve this site based on the view, and the other is the communication and approval letter from HOA. And so for PG&E's signed affidavits, this notice was sent to persons owning or occupying property within 300 feet along either side of the proposed location, mailed to neighborhood associations within 300 feet, and posted in conspicuous places within 300 feet of either side of the proposed location. And Public Works received one protest to PG&E's proposal. Thank you. I'll be here if you have any questions for me.
Okay, thanks. I will now have the applicant speak, John.
Okay, mic check, just make sure you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. So I had reached out to the protester who had concerns about potentially the high traffic area. I reiterated that, the box would go where the planter is, so it's not going to affect any existing pathways. And secondly, they brought up that there was quite a bit of work done by the Green Benefit District and the HOA in building that planter. And Department of Public Works, even before they told us to proceed and move forward, they wanted us to reach out to the HOA and members of the Green Benefit District, which we did do that. Basically, we needed that signed letter that Emily had already shown, which took multiple years to get their approval. We met them on site. The two people we met were Andrea Benas. I believe that's how you pronounce it. She was she was the executive director of the Green Benefit District at that time. And then Alex Goretsky was also a board member and president of the HOA, who eventually signed that letter approving it. They did want us to look at alternative locations. We engaged our land agents and saw that, all the land there was owned by Caltrans, and there's no way they would allow us to install on any of their land. Secondly, we do have two major pipelines running down by the station there, and we did look at alternative locations, but due to the interference from the rail, we have to be as close to those major pipelines as possible to mitigate any DC interference. So there were no other options to go anywhere else. So I just wanted to make it clear that, we did explore every option to potentially move it if possible, which it wasn't. And then secondly, I did try to resolve this with the protester directly, but, based on her original concerns, I had mentioned that we'd already addressed those, but she still did not remove her complaint about the situation.
Thank you. I'm gonna call on public comment right now.
I don't see anybody raise their hands.
Okay, no one. Okay, I have some questions for John. Aside from the city's constraints, what specifically are the locational constraints for locating the SMF to PG&E's asset?
The constraints meaning why can't we move it, or what?
Yeah, like what's the sort of radius of
So
um
the biggest concern is we actually have to, once we do our installation, we have to make a connection to the pipeline. So we actually need to dig down and tie into the pipe. So that is exactly where the pipeline runs through. It kind of moves off in different directions, and that's the primary location that we're picking up the DC interference from the rail, and therefore it needs to be mitigated at that location. So
sure, so what I mean, how far away can those anodes be and
so
the
it
SMF?
right. So it's two different situations where the anodes are obviously below ground, and we want to have those as close as possible. But the cabinet that we need to place typically sits right near or above the pipeline area, so we can, without having to trench, farther down the street or anything like that. It needs to be as close as possible to the pipeline, especially in previous years we had done test stations in the area, and that is exactly where the interference was being detected. So if we move farther away from that, we won't detect the same amount of interference that we're getting. So that has been pinpointed as a key area.
Okay, so what is the radius of the candidate sites that you can look for? Is there any documented any documentation of sites that PG&E has looked at across the street, around the corner, things like that? I think looking at the plans, the anodes ship with about 200 feet of minimum copper lead, so that might indicate that the radius could be larger than immediately adjacent to.
Yeah, it doesn't, unfortunately, my engineer wasn't able to make the hearing, so I think I'll need to get back to you with that detailed information, which can be shared as to why it can't be moved elsewhere. I don't have that here, uh, and it's a little over my head because this is really complex engineering type of thing. So,
Okay, so also with I think you're talking about electrification, corrosion. I think electrification went live in 2024. The engineering analysis was done right before COVID-19, so in 2019 or so, around there.
Correct.
So since then, has PG&E run coupon testing to confirm corrosion rates and whether the mitigation design still hold, or if the SMF and the anodes are still needed, or if even more is needed, because it's been some time since the analysis has occurred.
Yeah. And those test stations are checked on I believe, a 6-month or annual basis. So they are being continually checked, and there still is DC interference that's being picked up on those pipelines.
Correct. But for that DC interference, is it the same or has it changed since electrification went live? And
I
what's that
I
change?
I don't have access to those records. That's the engineering group and mechanics that would have that. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't have that information.
Okay.
But I understand the question is, yes, what are the current rates? Is it increased, decreased? Has anything changed? So is that
Okay.
what you'd like me to respond to?
Okay.
Oh, you know what? It looks like he said he's on the call, but I don't see him as a participant.
And
Okay,
for
it looks like
the
he's trying to join, or
okay.
has been. I think he might be on a. It says he's on the call. His name is Jim Longworth. Is that somebody you can?
I don't see.
I thought I saw something pop up that said Jim. Oh, but I don't
Jim's
see it
iPhone.
anymore. Yeah, that's probably him.
Okay.
What his name?
Sorry.
Oh, okay, he's here. Okay, do you want me to allow him to talk, officer?
Yes.
Okay.
So he would be able to answer these questions. My apologies.
Okay. Great. Thank
He
you.
can talk now.
Jim? Jim, are you there?
Jim, you might be on
You
mute,
have to
so if
mute.
you're on the iPhone, you're calling in, you might have to press *6. Or if you're on Zoom, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
I think that worked.
Okay,
Okay.
there he is.
Sorry, I haven't used this, in a while. So, okay. So first question is, we checked this. We checked the coupon that's in the area that's specifically adjacent to the Caltrains. We check it every year. We have noticed there has been an increase from the original testing. It's been a minor increase in this case, but a lot of it has to depend on our foreign interference source, which is BART and Muni. So
Okay.
you're going to say, well, why are we having problems? We need to put a system right near Caltrans. Well, because their rails are like a metal conductor. And so what happens is that stray currents caused by BART and by Muni end up getting discharged off our pipeline and right at this location. Going back to the Caltrans, and then somewhere else it's jumping off of Caltrans and heading back to BART. That's kind of how dynamic stray current works. So we did look at we had a test station about half a block away up, I think it's Pennsylvania. And we saw some dynamic activity, but no indication of higher corrosion rates. So it is very site specific, and we need to target these systems specifically to where we find the discharge of current. And remember that a discharge of current means corrosion. So at this point in time, it's an amount that obviously concerns us, that we want to spend the money to try to mitigate that.
Sure.
Okay.
I understand that.
What's your next question?
The other question was siting locations. What's the
Mm-hmm.
radius where these anodes and the cabinet can be placed. Looking at the drawings, it looks like the anodes ship with 200 feet of minimum copper lead, so that
Yeah.
indicates that you might have a larger radius than just one singular location.
Yeah, so that's kind of misleading. We order the anodes standard with a long lead on them. Sometimes we have to drill down. Right now, we're drilling down 50 feet, but at other times we have to drill down 100 feet. And so, just for so we're not constantly ordering different sizes for every single site. We order them with extra cable. All the time in case there's issues with drilling or whatever. Generally, our cabinets are placed within 10 to 15 feet of the pipeline itself. We have electronics and probes that are in the ground that help us do further monitoring to make sure we've mitigated the problem. So we really can't move like even just around the corner. It's site specific. We have done projects where we've had to move it, say, because of a structure, and then we find out that we end up having to go back, a year or two later and redo it on the other side of the road, type of thing, because we couldn't get close enough to where we wanted it, and we don't want that to be the case here.
So the anodes need to be close to your pipe, right? For
The
maximum effect.
yes,
However, the cabinet can be a little farther away. I'm guessing because it's monitoring the currents and which is connected through leads, right?
correct. So somewhere, I would say the radius we looked around there was between the corner of, I think it's Pennsylvania and whatever street, I forget what street this is, and over. We obviously can't go any further to the west, sorry, to the east, because we can't drill right where Caltrans has their underpass. So it's right at this location. We can't go. The pipelines turn and go up the street. Um, you know, so we know that we kind of need to be right here. Did that answer the question?
For now.
Yes. So typically we're always trying to install the system within 40 feet of where we have the concern.
Okay. And so the location that is being cited is inside a planter zone,
Mm-hmm.
and that planter zone, is it being maintained by the HOA?
That's correct. We were told that we had to go through the HOA because they originally pulled the permit for it, and then they'd handle the maintenance of it.
Okay. And so they're okay. Earlier you said they're okay with it. You finally got the agreement from them.
That's correct. We provided a signed letter from the president of the HOA board.
Okay. And that's not a green infrastructure landscape basin, right?
Not that I'm aware of. It was more of I believe, a beautification
Okay.
item that they decided to put in.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, John and Jim, for answering my questions.
Nobody
Okay.
else has raised their hands. Anybody want to talk? Please raise your hand.
Okay, looks like no one from the public wants to comment. Seeing none, I will now close the item, forward my findings and recommendation to the director. Next item on the agenda is order number 300103. May Public Works please present the case?
Hi, good morning. This is Gianna Dean, Street Inspector of Public Works. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. One second, please. This is Public Works Order number 300103, location of 39 Paramount Terrace, NOV number 052026-055-002. History report. On Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, around 1:40 p.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding a portable toilet that was completely obstructing the sidewalk at 39 Paramount Terrace. Upon arrival, the inspector found the portable toilet had been placed in the sidewalk without the required street space permit and that a minimum 4-foot pedestrian path of travel was not being maintained. As a result, the inspector issued the correction notice number 052026-055-002 to the property owner. The notice allows 72 hours to obtain the required permit and 1 day to restore the required 4-foot path of travel. The inspector also recommended relocating the portable toilet to the parking strip. During a follow-up inspection conducted on Thursday, May 21st, 2026, inspector found that the issue had not been corrected. The inspector rang the doorbell and spoke via the security camera with the gentleman at the property. However, he was uncooperative. Consequently, notice of violation number 052026-055-002 was issued to the property owner for failing to maintain the required 4-foot path of travel with per day fine of $1,000. On Tuesday, May 26, 2026, the inspector confirmed that the portable toilet had been removed. The notice of violation was subsequently closed and a 1-day fine in the amount of $1,000 was assessed. We then received, this is an appeal letter from the property owner. This is a copy of the notice of violation posted. And these are photos showing the issue at that location. More photos. This is the invoice that was sent to the property owner. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. May I have the property owner speak now? Joe?
Yep, sure. Hi, Joe Dews here. Would you like me to just sort of respond and share
Yeah,
my
if
perspective?
if you have anything to say.
Sure. So, first, Gianna, apologies. The person that you spoke with was my son who works from home. He was not aware of the issue. I was not there when you rang the intercom. The sequence of events, from my perspective, and if it's helpful, if I'm able to share screen, I can share the a back and forth text message stream with our contractor. We basically were painting the back of our house and had the honey bucket there for the painters to use. The painters completed their work on Monday, the 19th. I sent our contractor a text the morning of, or Monday, the 18th. I sent our contractor a text the morning of the 19th, basically said, painters did a great job. Can you get the honey bucket out of here? He confirmed on Tuesday that the honey bucket was supposed to be gone on Tuesday, the 19th. I had no personal direct interaction with the Honey Bucket people. We have a contractor that we normally use for stuff, and they had, I guess, subcontracted for the Honey Bucket. When I got home on the afternoon of May 20th, I saw the notice of violation. I texted it to my contractor at 4:22 on the 20th, told them this was posted on our door, the Honey Bucket's still there. He replied that he'd call him first thing in the morning. I made him aware that the deadline to correct is 1 day, so please have him pick up the following day. He confirmed on the morning of the 21st that he had spoken with them, that they were going to come pick it up. He also said he could come by and move it onto the driveway if that's helpful. Um, I left the house at about 11:30 on the 21st. He was just coming to the property when I was leaving, so I believe he moved it off of the sidewalk. When I got back from work the evening of the 21st, it was gone. So um, I first saw the notice at like 4 o'clock on the 20th. When I got back from work around 6 o'clock on the 21st, it was gone. I don't know exactly what time it was removed on the 21st, and I don't know what time, Gianna, you visited on the 21st, but I did send a text to you, I believe, end of the day, the 21st, letting you know it was gone. So again, apologize if my son was not cooperative. I didn't know that it was gonna not be resolved because I had talked to the contractor and he had said Honey Bucket was gonna pull it out the next day. But we resolved it as quickly as we could, working through the contractor at a Honey Bucket, and it was resolved the calendar day after we originally received the notification. And going forward, if we ever need to do this again, I now know that you either need to get a permit and can't block the sidewalk. So apologies if any neighbors were inconvenienced.
Thank you. Any public comments at this time?
Nobody raised their hand.
I have a quick question for the department. I noticed in the photos that there's a porta potty next door. Do we know if that property had taken out a street space permit?
Yeah, I wrote them up as well on the 20th.
Okay.
I have received 2 311 calls for that address and 39 Paramount
Okay.
Terrace. The neighbors ended up pushing it in behind the property line.
Okay. Or onto the driveway.
Correct.
Joe, do you have any photos of the porta potty being pushed onto the driveway?
I do not. I mean, I was getting in my, I had a meeting at 12:30 down in the peninsula. I got in my car to drive probably around 11:30. I saw Don, the contractor there, but didn't like take a picture or anything. But when I got home that evening, it was gone. I mean, I don't know that I have any photographic evidence of it being gone, but it was gone by the end of the day on the 21st. I mean, could you ask Gianna when she visited on the 21st?
Sure. Gianna, do you know when you visited? Was that photo taken?
1 second, please.
Looks like 1 p.m. Is that
One
chance?
15.
Okay. 1:15.
Yeah, so it sounds like maybe the contractor didn't actually move it then if that was at 1:15. Let me
Who's
just
your painter, Joe?
um so the painter was also through the contractor. The contractor was EBW Builders. Don Ferrigno is the foreman there. The painters, I would need to like um, find the invoice that EBW gave us, but I don't recall the name offhand.
Um, do you know if EBW Builders have worked in the city before?
Yeah, I mean they renovated our house when we moved in 2014. Um, I'm sure they do a ton of work in the city. But
Okay.
I mean they're they're busy and we're a small customer, so I mean I'd rather just pay the fine if I need to rather than have them have to show up at hearings. But I'll obviously let them know that going forward, if we're going to do a honey bucket, that it can't block the sidewalk, and if it's not on our property, it needs a permit. Is that the situation, Gianna? If it's on your behind your property line, is that permit no longer required?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and they probably didn't get into the details with Honey Bucket on where it was going to be placed. They just had it dropped off, had it picked up, and yeah, I unfortunately didn't realize or didn't take action if they realized it was on the sidewalk, but I didn't know that was an
Yeah,
issue.
they
Right.
can easily push it onto
Yeah, and
the
and
driveway.
in
It's
retrospect,
not
I
that
could have
heavy.
just pushed it, but I mean, I don't know how much these things weigh, and I just had visions of like a tipped over porta potty in my driveway if I tried to move
Sure.
it. So
Okay.
I just wanted to get it removed by the people who put it there.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's all I had.
I could
Opening
send
it
you the
back up
text message
to
thread that I had with Dawn, which has those timestamps and date stamps if that's relevant, but
no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Thanks,
all
Joe.
right. Sure.
I'm gonna open it back up to public comments for this item just one last time.
No public comments.
Okay. All right. I will now close the item for my findings and recommendations to the director. There's no more other items on the agenda for today's hearing, so this hearing is now closed. Thank you, everyone, for your time and enjoy your day.
Thank you.